Hey, what's up, race fans? Steve here with your 2014 NASCAR season. Now, let's call this Week 5 and Week 6 reviews. We'll talk about both California and Martinsville. Not a whole lot to talk about at Martinsville, but I will mention this right at the top of the video. This Kurt Busch, usually I just do the video of the winner from the previous week, so that would be Kurt Busch, and the computer completely by chance puts Keselowski on the front row with me, and we trade paint here for a few laps. I thought that was amusing, since that's not totally unlike what happened on Sunday. We'll get to Kurt Busch in a second. Really proud of what he was able to accomplish, but let's talk about why I wasn't able to do a video last week. I'm a Jeff Gordon fan. I don't hide that. I put it on this channel. If you watch some of my other previous videos, you'll know quite clearly I'm a Gordon fan. And I gotta say, I was so pissed off. I would not have been able to do a video about the California race without it devolving into some sort of crazy lunatic rant. So I decided to take a week off. I was going to think about what I was going to say about the California race, and I'm still plenty pissed. But instead of just being pissed that Gordon didn't win, I'm also pissed that Johnson's tire went down too at the end of the California race, and we'll talk about that just coming up here. So, the tire problems. I blame Goodyear. I also blame NASCAR. You can't tell me that Goodyear could have just said, blanket, we're going to put the old tire packages in from last season. We're just going to throw them back onto this year's races, and we're going to be okay. How could that possibly have been acceptable? It's a completely new aero package. The teams were saying it. Everybody was saying it. And Goodyear just says, we don't need to test. It's cool. Just send out the old last year's tires. If they had gone to, and I understand they didn't decide on the package until halfway through December, it wasn't a lot of time. If they had gone to one track, if Goodyear had gone to one track and tested, they would have seen that there was a drastic difference in tire wear from last year to this year, and they would have had to make adjustments. They would have seen that at one track. If they had gone to 1.5 mile track, they would have seen a drastic difference in tire wear. And Gordon's right. You know, he had the article, that was the big news story at the beginning of last week, saying that there are going to be massive problems at Texas. There's always tire wear problems at Texas. There's always brake problems at Texas. Now you're going to have a situation where the tires aren't holding up. It's going to make Fontana look like nothing. You're going to have situations where they're going to be 10, 15 lap green lap runs. That's it. Unless they put something in, they have to do something. They have to do something. They didn't do anything for Martinsville this week, and you saw tire wear problems there. Thankfully, it's Martinsville. There's not a lot of problem there. But you can't have it where you're going to go to Texas now, and it's going to be a situation where you're going to have cautions every 15 laps because these tires can't hold it. And Waltrip, you know, I love the little nuggets that Darrell Waltrip gives on the Fox broadcast. I really wish Fox did the broadcast the entire year. He told you straight out, with the amount of downforce they're allowing in the cars this year, with the aero packages, and the way that these teams firm up the rear ends of these cars, they're basically using the tires as springs. They're using the tires as the shock package. So as NASCAR, you either have to say, listen, you guys can't do that. We're going to have to make changes to the downforce, or Goodyear, you have to make adjustments. One or the other. The teams are going to use the packages that you give them, and they're going to squeeze every little bit of downforce out of every package and configuration that they possibly can. I can't blame them for that. That's why you pay a crew chief. That's why you pay a car chief. You have these guys there that say, hey, listen, what's the package? What's every single bit of advantage we can get out of that package? It's up to NASCAR or it's up to Goodyear to come up with a solution. Whether it's the inner liners, whatever it is, you can't have it where NASCAR either says, okay, you can keep running like that, or Goodyear says, hey, we're going to keep throwing those old tires out there and just watch this be a mess. And my problem with the California race was this. Johnson and Gordon by far had the best cars all day long, and they were not racing at the end for a win. That can't happen. There's a narrow line between excitement and chaos. And what you had a couple Sundays ago was chaos. You didn't have an entertaining race. Was it exciting? Absolutely. It was exciting for the wrong reasons, though. I want to see the best cars all day dueling it out at the end. How cool would that have been to see Johnson, who had a fantastic car over the intermediate runs, trying to hold off Gordon, who had an excellent car on the longer runs? That would have been just as exciting as what finally happened. You had Kyle Busch, who won the race, who barely had a top 10 car all day. You had Kyle Larson behind him challenging for the win. He barely had a top 15 car all day. So how can it be where you allow these inferior cars to be racing for wins? It doesn't make for the most exciting race. or if it's exciting for the wrong reasons. I want the best cars up there dueling at the end of the race, and I put that on NASCAR, and I put that on Goodyear. You got to go test. Texas is going to be a mess. You listen to Jeff Gordon, that interview that he gave last week. He's absolutely right. And he has tire problems there anyway, because I don't know how he drives those corners into Texas so aggressive that he just blows out that front. He just heats up that front brake and rips the B right off that tire. But there are going to be tire problems for everybody. They saw it at California. They didn't do anything. Then at Martinsville, you had people wearing out tires in 20, 30 laps at Martinsville. Then you're going to go to Texas, 200 miles an hour off into the corner. You telling me you're not going to have tire problems? I really, really, really hope that they look at that and they make some adjustment. They have to. Maybe after the first practice they'll see, but they have to make some adjustments in order for it to be a good race. So let's talk about Kurt Busch. Fantastic job from Kurt Busch on Sunday. Listen, he wasn't the only one thinking that his race day was over when he got into that accident on pit road, and then he had the little tangle up with Keselowski on the track itself. I was thinking the same thing. In fact, when Keselowski came back out onto the track, came back at him, I was surprised he didn't put him in the wall or spin them both out or something that you would absolutely expect from Kurt Busch. And I'm not the biggest Kurt Busch fan by any stretch of the means, by any means whatsoever. I think he could be a little sensitive on the track. I think he could be a psycho. But I'm not a Keselowski fan either. I think he could be a little touchy about things too. So you put the two of them together and you got fireworks, and that's what you got on Sunday. But I got to say, I was feeling good for Kurt Busch. He was able to put that aside. He was able to go out, have a good race. When you give people enough chances, you got to hope that at some point they hold. And apparently he's working on his anger issues. And I got to say, from what you saw on Sunday, that was absolutely the result. And I was damn proud of watching that. And you felt good for Kurt. I mean, how often can you say you feel good for Kurt Busch after a race? And I did. Because that was definitely a major achievement. Keselowski came back at him. He could have easily said, screw it, I'm going to wreck my car, I'm going to do something, I'm going to go back at him. He didn't do it. He kind of went down low on the track when Keselowski was pushing against him. He just drove right past, got on with his business. When he came back around, he didn't ram him or spin him out or anything like that, draw a caution. Nothing like that. Went about his business, won the race. And you saw it in Tony Stewart afterwards, how proud he looked afterwards when he came up to him on the track. That was a really, really good job for Kurt Busch, and he's in the team to do it. They were talking about how Johnson wouldn't be too happy that Hendrick is supplying the engines, but you put somebody in that type of equipment with the talent of a Kurt Busch, with his head in the right place and not being a psycho, you might have a championship contender there. So that's it for this week. Let me know what you guys think below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, enjoy the race at Texas. I really hope that we get to enjoy it. It's not just a huge mess. But maybe they'll put the inner liner in. I'm with Darrell Waltrip here on this one. I don't know why they don't put it in for every week. I don't know what the damage would be. Does it that slow down the vehicles that much? Maybe this horsepower thing at the end of the year, they're thinking about making a change in the horsepower, is going to be a change for the best. I don't know, but let's talk about it next week after the race. Hopefully they make changes. Until next time, enjoy the race.
Right's clear. Clear left. Make it count now. Here we go. One more time. One up top. Watch your inside. Clear right side.